Hey everybody, I am here with the woman of Proverbs.
Hey.
And we had a couple of topics we want to talk about, and I'm excited. I haven't seen you in what, two months?
Yeah, it's been about 2 months.
And it's time to get down to business of helping people grow, love, and their relationships. So we got a couple of topics we're going to cover, and let's go for our first one.
Alrighty.
So, we want me to read it? Fighting for your relationship. What does that mean? The reason I posted on my Facebook page today, when I woke up, it was on my mind because I hear people talk about fighting for their relationship all the time. And I just put it out there. I had to ask, what are you fighting? What are you fighting against? And I got a barrage of different answers. So what does that mean to you when you hear that?
Well, when I hear the word or the phrase fighting for your relationships, meaning the being in a position to be able to say, okay, you know what, I want to make this, I'm going to put in all the effort to save, whether it's a marriage or friendship or whatever, putting in the energy and the time to make something work. That's what I think. But how I see it displayed is something totally different, because I realize that some of the stuff that we call fighting for is not really. You shouldn't be really fighting for anything. You should be in a position to where you have already, as a couple, have decided, okay, you know what, we're going to put in the effort. And there doesn't have to always be a fight when there's effort involved. If we put in the effort, if I put in the effort to make sure that you're happy and that you're getting your needs met, and you put in that same effort of fighting and making sure that my needs met, then there shouldn't have to be a fight, because we're always considering one another. We're always considering what's best for our partner. But when you get to the point where you have to start fighting, sometimes that word fighting can wind up going in different directions.
See? It's like communicating, right? If you're working on your communication after you commit and they just don't get it, then they weren't communicators in the first place. And you decided, and this is what I think about fighting for your relationship, is that you're not really compatible with the person that you meet. You're going to make it happen. And that's the work part. That's the fighting part. Fighting your understanding of truth, that they're really not good to me or good for me. And I made another bad decision, embarrassment, fighting the idea that I might be alone. These are the things that you're fighting for. Fighting, working. And then the lady says, what do you do? She says she prays. How do you pray for your relationship? You're asking for someone else to change.
Right.
I don't get that part there.
Right.
Because you want God, your God, to change somebody else to fit for you. When ideally, you want them to already be in that point when you meet them. All this fighting thing, I seen fighting distractions. I can understand that. But all these tend to lead back to a personal lane. One person wanting something, like I say about women. When a woman meets a man and she gives herself the thumbs up, she goes all in to make sure that relationship works.
I agree.
And sometimes I don't think it's fair to her, because she's a victim of that very thing. I chose him, therefore this relationship is going to happen, even if it kills him.
Wow.
Really. Because if you commit too soon, you find out things later, and then you justify, or you pray for it, or you just live in denial that these things aren't working in your relationship. And you're responsible for it. So you have to be mindful at the beginning. I don't want this to be a fight. I don't want this to be work. I want this to be a journey that I have selected someone who's very capable of having the same values of love, the same understanding to their professional goals, and peace in their life. And if you don't have these anchors for that, it will be work. It will be a fight. And eventually you're going to lose. See, what they used to do is great grandma and grandpa, they didn't fight. They surrendered to their relationship. One lived on one end of the house, the other lived on the other end of the house. In the 70s or in the late 60s, they went out and made other families, but they stayed in the same house. And they'll pop around now and tell you they've been married for 50 years. They've been together in the same house for 50 years, but they had whole separate lives.
That's true.
So we can't do what they did, because child support is real. They didn't have child support back then. But we can't do what they did, but we have to do what we're trying to do now. If you want a loving, caring relationship, you need to have some of these things in place prior to you committing to this person and then trying to figure it out later. Because if they don't have what you need, then what are you doing? You're settling for the relationship. You're angry. You're slick angry about it. And it seeps out. Negativity finds a way to seep out because you didn't do the work. I'm sorry. Did I take?
And part of no, that's actually good. And part of that work is self-care and self-love and positioning yourself emotionally to be able to be in a relationship where you can do the work. Because a lot of the times in relationships, you have two messed up people.
Two messed up people?
Two messed up people.
Okay.